the most difficult times of our lives, I've always managed to compartmentalize work. In other words, there was a time when we actually, before I opened my company, where I actually operated out of my home. So I built a home in such a way that it had a basement downstairs, and that basement became our office. So every morning I would put on a suit and a tie and go downstairs to work at home. But I worked as if I was out of the house. I didn't work in a pajama. I worked in a suit and tie. I was ready to meet with clients on a spur of a moment. In our own house. My wife would join me, and then she would go upstairs and cook, and she would check back in. And same thing, I would work, let's say, from 9 until 5, then close the door, go upstairs, and it's now family life. So I managed to compartmentalize. Business time is business time. Family time is family time. Okay? So that's what helped me. Nowadays, because, since I graduated, before I graduated, I was putting in the time. I had to do the research. I had to do the analysis. It was hard work. So that was taking from me more than 8 hours a day. But I still managed to find time to fish. I found time, to read and study and to give khutbat al-Jum'ah and give speeches and training and so on. Right now, my schedule is different. I follow the moon and the stars because I don't know if you know, but fishing is connected to the moon. When it's full moon, when it's high tide. So I have an app that tells me the time, the high time for fishing for today. And that's why we're meeting at 10 in the morning, because I reserve time in the afternoon, about 2 hours for fishing.
SubhanAllah. Does that mean that you have the most accurate analysis of which day Ramadan starts?
No, I don't. Honestly, I think Allah.
I'm joking.
I know it's a fun. It's a joke, but seriously, I think one of our problems is that we don't focus on the spirit of Islam. We focus on the formalities.
Yeah.
We fight day and night about when moon sighting or no moon sighting. When Allah Azza wa Jal ta'abbadana, Allah Azza wa Jal wanted us to fast, not to calculate.
Yeah.
So the answer is no, I don't.
SubhanAllah. One of the biggest questions we wanted to ask you is the fact that now your purpose in life is pivoted towards non-for-profits and young leaders. We wanted to know, with you working with so many young leaders and so many ambitious minds, right? What's the one mistake you see them making over and over again when it comes to chasing and defining success?
They're too distracted.
You think so?
An essential ingredient for success is focus. And there's a hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ, it's a tradition actually, it's a hadith. من جعل الهم هما واحدا كفاه الله هموم الدنيا والآخرة. You make your concern a single concern. Allah Azza wa Jal takes care of other concerns. In other words, you need to always focus. So I developed a course about 20 years ago, which I've been teaching since then. I can deliver it in 2 days. I can deliver it in 2 hours. But it's a very extensive course that basically says that if you want to control your destiny, you start by defining your values, those things that are most important to you, so that you prioritize them, so you can focus on the top of the list. And by focusing, meaning attaining knowledge and expertise in that. And when you do, you'll develop the confidence enough for you to take action. Once you take action, it reinforces all of your values and priorities and everything, or it gets you to change them and modify them. And as you take more action and more action, it becomes habitual. Once you develop habits of success, then you become known by that, and hence character. So your character, or what we call your akhlaq in Arabic, if they are connected to a covenant with Allah Azza wa Jal, then you basically completed the circle. That's your destiny. So that track, that analytical framework, I go over it step by step. And each part of it, I reinforce it with verses from the Quran and tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, because a lot of people don't really believe something unless they know that it's supported by Quran and Sunnah. And instead of arguing with them that there could be good things out there that are not necessarily prescribed in the Quran and Sunnah. I simply bring them the ayat and the hadith to kind of like put their mind at ease.
Inshallah, in the
So
future
if I say
seasons,
it's very important to recognize what your values are, I say, you know what, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. Qadr means value. And there's a new value set. Muhammad ﷺ didn't bring a new religion. He brought a new way of life in which the value set is shuffled. Now all of a sudden, إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The most honored among you are those who are most pious. It's a new system. Before that, فَغُضُّ الطَّرْفَ إِنَّكَ مِن نُمَيْرٍ فَلَا كَعْبًا بَلَغْتَ وَلَا كِلَابًا. The poet Amr ibn Kulthum says, lower your gaze, you are from Numair or Namir, a tribe that has no value. You are not from Ka'b or Kilab. Ka'b and Kilab are two big tribes like Quraysh. You're not from neither one of them. In other words, your honor follows your ancestry, where you come from, which tribe. That was the way before Islam. All of a sudden, Prophet ﷺ brings a new value system. The new value system says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. So it's all about values. It's all about values. And so and most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their life. So when somebody says, fine, help me plan my life, I'll say, okay, what is your value set? In Arabic, we say al-manzuma al-qiyamiyya. Manzuma means things that are stitched together, like a subha. So what are your values that are connected to each other? And if they say, well, you know, God and Allah Azza wa Jalla is number one. Okay, what else? وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُ. Fine, that's number one. Number two. What's number three? So now you get to work on number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, are they prioritized? If they're not prioritized, like they say in a Chinese proverb, anyone who chases 2 rabbits catches none. So unless you prioritize your values, you're not going to achieve any of them. You're not going to be good at any of them. So you have to know what is number 3. 1 and 2 are already prescribed in the Quran. So what is number 3? If you're sick, it's got to be health. If you're a student, it's got to be graduation. If you're broke, it's got to be money. It's rational. But nobody does it because nobody teaches it. Most people spend more time telling people about the normative way of things, how things ought to be, as opposed to learning from life itself. Allah says, قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا. Travel in this world, move, and look. But look doesn't mean with your eyes. It means observe. It means collect data. It means learn from data.
Reflect.
And I think about, a big part of our problem as a Muslim community is that we are very deductive as opposed to inductive. Everything to us, if it doesn't come from Quran and Sunnah, it has no value. And yet the Quran says, قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا. That's inductive. That means collect data and analyze it and learn from it. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ, when he traveled, if he wanted to know how many were the troops of the enemy, he had the Sahaba figure out from the droppings of their camels and their sheep, or from the remnants of the slaughter that they did prior, how many camels were slaughtered. And since 10 camels per person or 10 sheep per person, there was a ratio. They figured out how many soldiers. Oh, well, we got 400 people ahead of us. That's data analysis. They did that intuitively. They did that very easily. We don't do that. Most people, for their success plan, they're always looking in the Quran. The Quran is a spiritual book. It was not sent as an MBA textbook at Rutgers. It was sent as a guidance for humanity, yes, to connect us with Allah Azza wa Jal, to show us the way to the Akhirah. And every once in a while there is lessons about life. Yes, I agree. But Allah tells you to also learn from your environment, from data, to mine for data and to analyze it and understand it. And I believe that's part of the problem. So most youth do not succeed because they don't learn from existing data that's all around us. And it's easy to research it, it's easy to analyze it. You can ask Siri, you can say, Siri, tell me about a good breakfast that has low fiber or high fiber or something. And Siri would answer you. With AI nowadays, you have the answer to everything. And most people don't know how to use it properly. So the data is there. We need to stop being scattered in our thoughts. We need to focus. And once we're focused, we need to know what to do with that. In that moment of clarity and focus, what do you do then? And it's those moments that make all the difference. Most people do not take time out to reflect. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ. The Quran says tadabbur. Tadabbur means contemplate, think, and think, and think. We don't use our biggest gift, the brain, we don't use it correctly.